Rachael Ray is a household name with a lot to know about her. These are the rumors and sad secrets you may not have heard about.
Many of Ray's signature character traits developed early in her life. Ray owes her raspy voice to a childhood illness, and her rebellious attitude was on full display even as a kid. She was once kicked out of the Girl Scouts in part because she made up dirty lyrics to a Girl Scout song. And it will come as no surprise to learn that she used her bubbly, go-getter personality to become a high school cheerleader, topping the pyramid. It was in the kitchen, however, that she truly flourished as a youth. While she was growing up, Ray's parents owned a restaurant. After they divorced, Ray helped her mother Elsa run a number of eateries in upstate New York. She put her knowledge of cuisine to good use, making and selling delicious gift baskets while still in high school. Looking to pursue a career in food, she dropped out of college and got a job in Macy's Gourmet Food Market in Manhattan. It looked like her career path was set, but fate had other ideas. After being mugged twice, Ray decided to quit New York City entirely. She told Good Housekeeping, "I felt like the whole universe was telling me, you're not supposed to be here right now." Instead, she moved upstate to Albany and got a job as a food buyer at a gourmet food store. It was there that she had the idea to teach cooking classes. That led to appearances on local TV, which led to a guest spot on The Today Show, which led to landing her own series on the Food Network. Funny how things work out. It might be hard to believe, but Rachael Ray is quick to point out that she is not actually a chef. She has no formal culinary training, something she stresses so as not to take away from classically trained chefs.
I can think of no greater motivation in the world to get you guys into your kitchen than macaroni and cheese.
Ray might appreciate the simple things in life, but that doesn't mean she knows how to make them. The cooking guru has admitted that there are some basic food staples she simply can't prepare. She told Mediaite that when she brews coffee, it looks like mud or pee, and that she has been known to set bread on fire when trying to toast it. Hey, it could be worse.
Get in there, Sonny! Beat that!
Ray talks a lot about her family, particularly her mother Elsa. She's also been known to name dishes after her younger brother Manny, while her older half-sister Maria writes recipes for the Rachael Ray website. Still, when it comes to family versus career, there's no contest for Ray, who prioritizes her work. She told Good Housekeeping that when she was dating, she would dump any guy who wanted to be put first. Luckily, she married musician John Cusimano in 2005, who she says is the perfect match because he doesn't mind playing second fiddle to a stovetop. "I can't give a man an enormous amount of attention, and John is totally down with that." But Ray's commitment to work over family has caused her some controversy and personal pain as well. In 2013, Ray's Aunt Geraldine suffered a fatal heart attack while house-sitting for Ray's mother, Elsa. Geraldine's daughter, Gina, blamed the Ray family for neglect, and the hard feelings were made worse when Ray elected to film her cooking show rather than attend her aunt's funeral. That's just one of many occasions Ray has drawn controversy over the course of her career. On her breakout show, $40 a Day, Ray often ruffled feathers with her tiny tips, sometimes leaving as little as 7% for the hardworking waitstaff serving her. In 2003, Ray's decision to do a photo shoot for FHM magazine caused a firestorm among her fans, while in 2009, Ray somehow generated a national controversy simply by wearing a headscarf in a Dunkin' Donuts commercial. That one may have been downright silly, but the charges brought against her pet food company in 2017 were no laughing matter. A class action suit alleged that the claims made by her Nutrish label saying that the pet food contains no artificial flavors or artificial preservatives are misleading. That's because the food actually contains, quote, unnatural ingredients. And a separate suit alleged that recovering addicts in the Christian Alcoholics and Addicts in Recovery program were forced to work without pay for Nutrish, among other national brands. Despite the controversy she's endured, Ray still isn't afraid to mix food with politics. In 2016, she explained to CNBC her decision to base her furniture line in the United States. "The American public is fed up with being underemployed. I think our employment rates keep rising, but we have skilled people that are doing jobs that are not skilled. I think we've been frustrated as a country to bring jobs back, and I think we're on a good path. More and more you see made in America. We certainly try as a company to do our part to get it made here and bring jobs back here." If Ray's gig as a celebrity cook ever ends, she has a fallback career as an actor. Besides playing herself on shows like Gilmore Girls, 30 Rock, and Young and Hungry, she also made her film debut in 2017 as the voice of Spam in the animated Emoji Movie. Now that's yummo.
It's hard to imagine Rachael Ray ever struggling to get by, but her early life couldn't have been more different than her life today. Ray was raised in Lake George, New York, along with her older half-sister and younger brother. In a 2006 interview on 2020, she jokingly referred to herself as a hick from the sticks. She grew up in a family that absolutely loved food. Her mother's father, for instance, grew his own food and cooked everything his family ate. Her mother went on to own a series of restaurants. On her father's side, Ray was exposed to the cooking traditions of Louisiana. As Ray told Food Network, My first vivid memory is watching my mom in a restaurant kitchen. I was 3 or 4. And apparently, vino, Italian for wine, was her first word. One of Rachael Ray's most important influences was her Sicilian grandfather. As she revealed to NPR, he taught her some important lessons. For instance, on her first day of school, Ray put on her best dress and brought her favorite sardine sandwich for lunch. She wrote in her book, Rachael Ray 50, "So I came home that day being the stinky girl in the funny clothes with the funny shoes, and I said, I'm never going back to school ever again." Luckily, Ray's grandfather was there to help. He taught her, "There's plenty in life that you have no control over that you will cry about. Certainly your vanity should never be one of them, you know?" Ray's grandfather was clearly incredibly influential in helping Ray become the confident woman she eventually became.
My grandfather, I was joking about it earlier. I lost him when I was so very young, but he was absolutely my best friend.
In just about every interview, Rachael Ray sings the praises of her mother. As Ray explained in her 2020 interview, her mother and father divorced when she was 13. She and her siblings often went to work with her mother, who managed a series of local restaurants. Ray said, "I'm a pale comparison next to her. She would work 100 hours a week. She was like the person I look at and I said, wow." As Ray told the Food Network, if she wasn't with her mother at a local restaurant, they were in the kitchen. It was here that her mother instilled in her fundamental lessons on food and on life. "Don't take yourself too seriously," and "food is just food" are two of the bits of wisdom from her mother by which Ray has always abided. Rachael Ray's mother introduced her to the world of food from an extremely early age thanks to her restaurant business. Ray told Forbes, "I literally grew up in restaurants and kitchens and walk-ins." So it was no surprise that her first jobs were working in a restaurant as a dishwasher and a waitress. While she found being a dishwasher difficult, calling it humbling, she loved her time as a waitress. Ray recalled, "I went to work with enthusiasm and purpose to do that job better than I did the day before. That makes your life very meaningful." She went on to explain that those early jobs in restaurants mapped out my entire existence and informed her approach to her food brand. As Ray wrote in the introduction to her book Rachael Ray 50, she is a waitress in my heart and a cook in my soul. Rachael Ray's big break was a little unexpected. Her first television jobs were on local TV. Her first TV appearances came from local 30-minute cooking classes in upstate New York. As Ray told Good Housekeeping, this first show was a happy little accident, and at the time it wasn't the direction that Ray thought her career would or should take. She recalled to NPR, "The television thing is a very weird happening for me, and certainly not anything I planned for." For a while, she resisted the world of television. She explained that it initially felt like the wrong job for her. At the time, she thought, "I serve people. I'm the service person. I wait on people that are on TV. I'm not on TV." And when the Food Network came calling, she voiced her concerns. Luckily, they convinced her to take the job. In 2009, Ray underwent a surgery that ended up being quite a turning point in her life. Prior to the operation, Ray explained in a post on her website that she had developed a benign cyst on her vocal cords that sometimes caused pain and vocal issues. She wrote, "My doctor suggested I get the thing lobbed off and rest my voice for about 2 weeks while I am on holiday break this December." For someone as chatty and vivacious as Ray, the long vocal rest proved to be seriously challenging. People reported that the cyst was removed in July 2009. As Ray later told Good Housekeeping, the vocal rest left her with lots of pent-up energy. She even took up jogging. She joked, "I used to say I would never run unless I was being chased by someone with a gun, but now I'm a little obsessed with it." She lost weight and became even more energetic, if you can believe it.
Because I worked 80 to 100 hours a week, I thought that that was fitness. It isn't.
Rachael Ray hasn't always had an easy time in the public eye. Some of her decisions have caused a fair amount of backlash. For example, in 2011, Ray stood up for her friend Chef Mario Batali as he faced allegations of sexual misconduct. NPR noted that Ray and Batali had been colleagues since competing together on Iron Chef. While Ray hadn't spoken to Batali about the allegations, she refused to give up their friendship. She said, "I don't think it's fair, once people have gone through something that's so traumatic and dramatic." It wasn't just Batali she thought of, it was his family too. She said she could empathize with Batali because she has also been publicly humiliated and hated throughout her career. She explained, I'd go to interview after interview and people would bring up the website, I Hate Rachael Ray. Even though Rachael Ray is easily one of the most successful cooks in the world, she has always remained humble. Unlike some others in her industry, Ray is constantly transforming as she learns new things. In 2015, she spoke to Food Network about the importance of continually expanding her horizons. She said, "I don't really know anything, and I think that that's what makes our shows popular, you know?" She added that, for her, good television should be about starting a conversation and sharing information. She summed up her approach to learning, saying, "I try and be curious and dedicated and authentic when I go to work." Ray's career has thrived thanks to this approach. As Fox 2 Now noted, she is kind and giving. And as ABC News put it, she is funny, relaxed, and even humble. It's clear that people have picked up on Ray's humility in the kitchen and eagerness to learn. Ray has created an empire out of her brand. In addition to her various cooking shows on Food Network, Ray has released more than 24 books, her own magazine, a set of kitchenware, and a billion-dollar pet food brand. In 2019, E! News reported that Ray's net worth had grown to a staggering $80 million thanks to these various ventures. As Entrepreneur reported in 2017, Ray's rise to the top is no surprise. She showcases several attributes shared by other top businessmen and women. For instance, she knows her audience and knows how to provide products and content that they love. Plus, her authenticity means people trust her brand. She told the magazine, "People smell phony." It's evident that Ray's relatable and friendly persona is a genuine aspect of her personality. But it's also clear that it's something the business mogul is conscious about. For many women in the public eye, middle age proves to be a difficult time. In the entertainment industry in particular, women often find themselves losing popularity as they age. For Rachael Ray, her 50th birthday was a challenge she met head-on. She told NPR that her book, Rachael Ray 50, Memories and Meals from a Sweet and Savory Life, was, in part, a statement about what middle age can be for women in America. She said, "I wanted to reflect that the American dream is still alive, that if you work very hard, opportunity will come your way. You can be 50 and over and female in this country and still be relevant." She went into more detail about the book on The View, saying,
I wanted to prove to people that anybody could be Rachael Ray.
A lot changed for almost everyone in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and it was no different for Rachael Ray. As the star explained to Us Weekly, the pandemic forced her and her husband to switch up their routines in isolation. Ray said, "John and I have always worked together, but in separate buildings. However, in 2020, they worked in the same building, all the time, which she called a huge adjustment." The change helped Ray develop a deeper appreciation for her husband's work. Since Ray was also making her show from home, her husband had to take on multiple new roles like cameraman and tech services. The pandemic actually brought the couple closer together. Ray said, "I think we have a deeper appreciation of each other." 2020 also presented some problems for Ray and her husband. Just before the premiere of the 15th season of her dog show, their home was destroyed in a devastating fire. The star spoke about the impact of the fire on Good Morning America, recounting how her husband had been out playing golf and had returned in a bad mood after playing poorly. She recalled,
"So I thought, well, I'll make pasta and I'll light a fire and that'll put him in a good mood."
A few minutes after lighting the fire, a passerby ran into their backyard yelling that their roof was on fire. Luckily, Ray and her husband made it out unscathed, but they lost their home and many treasured belongings, including handwritten letters and other personal items. Nevertheless, Ray managed to remain positive, telling The Hollywood Reporter, "We had so much to be grateful for."
For a seemingly friendly TV personality, Rachael Ray attracts a lot of negative attention, especially from fellow celebrity chefs and food writers. For one reason or another, the following folks just can't stand Rachael Ray. The Queen of Homemakers, Martha Stewart, expressed her skepticism of Rachael Ray's skills in a not-so-flattering way in 2009. Stewart revealed in an interview with ABC News that Ray once admitted to her that she couldn't bake. Exposing that weakness on national TV was bad enough, but Stewart kept throwing her trademark brand of subtle shade.
She just did a new cookbook, which is just a re-edit of a lot of her old recipes, and that's not good enough for me.
Stewart went on to say that Ray is more of an entertainer than a teacher. Stewart diffused the situation not long after with an apology to Ray on her show. And Ray told ABC News that, ultimately, Martha had a point.
When it comes to producing a beautiful, perfect, high-quality meal, I'd rather eat Martha's than mine, too.
Emeril Lagasse eventually got over his tiff with Rachael Ray, but for a while, it looked like they were going to be lifelong enemies. According to journalist Alan Salkin's 2013 Food Network tell-all From Scratch, Lagasse once said Ray, quote, doesn't know anything about food, and even said if it was his call to make, she never would have been on TV.
I love that little thin, pretty little...
Now.
The two seemed to patch things up, though. Or maybe Lagasse just realized that publicly berating a popular figure wasn't the best way to revive his then-waning career. Regardless, Lagasse went on to become a frequent chummy guest on Ray's show.
Salt for the taters.
Oh, those look so good, Rach.
While Giada De Laurentiis has officially denied rumors of a feud with Ray, if you read between the lines, it seems likely that there's at least a little bit of bad blood between them. In 2009, De Laurentiis tried to squash rumors of a feud in Redbook, but her attempt to put out the fire was less than convincing. Giada admitted in the magazine, "Do we hang out all the time? No. Are we best friends? No." The two went head-to-head on Iron Chef America in 2006, and De Laurentiis, who was teamed up with Bobby Flay, doesn't seem to have gotten over losing to Ray and Mario Batali. In 2014, she told Hamptons magazine how annoying it was that people still asked her how she felt about losing to Ray. "It will bother me until the day I die. I'm a fighter and I like to win. I'm not a good loser." The late Anthony Bourdain was never known for holding back his true feelings, and he had an intense dislike of Rachael Ray. In a now-deleted 2007 guest post on author Michael Ruhlman's blog, Bourdain wrote, "Complain all you want about Rachael Ray. It's like railing against the pounding surf. She only grows stronger and more powerful. Her ear-shattering tones louder and louder. We know she can't cook. She shrewdly tells us so. She's selling us satisfaction, the smug reassurance that mediocrity is quite enough." Bourdain portrayed Ray as a sort of anti-Julia Child who, rather than enlightening aspiring home chefs and inspiring them to cook better food, she, quote, uses her strange and terrible powers to narcotize her public.
Let's say that's perfect, shall we?
Sarah Dickerman, a former chef, cookbook author, and food writer at Slate, called out Ray in 2005 while discussing the sorry state of culinary TV. In a takedown of All Things Food Network, she singled Ray out as the most problematic celebrity chef, writing, "Worst of all, there are endless hours of Rachael Ray, who dines out on the cheap and cooks on the fly, chirpily renouncing such culinary values as elegance, subtlety, and perhaps even flavor. It is enough to make you give up on TV cooking shows."
And we have our... We'll get that later.
Rachael Ray's husband, John Cusimano, gets nearly as much attention as his wife does. An actor, lawyer, producer, and musician, he frequently accompanies her on her shows, at public events, and on her social media accounts. They might even seem like the definition of couple goals. They've been married for nearly 20 years, as they wed at a Tuscan castle in 2005 and renewed their vows in the same venue in 2015. They've also returned to the castle every year with family and friends to celebrate their anniversary.
Here's my beautiful bride. Hi, honey.
Ciao! Happy anniversary!
Despite all those happy traditions, this marriage hasn't been without its share of trouble, including rumors of infidelity. One woman from Florida allegedly met Cusimano in New York in 2000 and carried on an affair with him for years. Various publications have claimed that he's cheated as many as 6 times, but Ray has been having none of it. As she insisted to People magazine in 2007, "I've known where he is every night since we've been married." If the rumors are indeed false, then this is hardly the most tragic chapter in Ray's life, but there's still a pain to deal with. With more than 20 cookbooks to her name, Rachael Ray has published hundreds of recipes. That number might even go into the thousands when you also add up her recipes that have been published online or in magazines. It's probably fair to think that she didn't create every single one of those entirely on her own. But some industry insiders have accused her of much worse. In 2012, the New York Times published a story called "I Was a Cookbook Ghostwriter," which claimed that many celebrity chefs, including Rachael Ray, aren't actually writing their own recipes or cookbooks. Afterwards, Ray responded on an episode of her talk show, "This is how I spend the little time at home I have with my family. I spend in front of these little notebooks, in front of the computer. It sort of takes away from all of that to not be able to call that writing. Of course that's writing. It doesn't mean you don't value the people who write the glossary or that help organize the pantry or that work on a project, but a writer is still a writer." When Rachael Ray was launched as part of the daytime TV lineup, a live audience was a crucial component. However, despite Ray's hard work and endless hours devoted to her shows, some people have claimed that she's not that great a host when the cameras stop rolling. TripAdvisor reviews of the show's taping experience are a mixed bag, with some thoroughly enjoying their time there and others saying things like, "Don't get your hopes up." One unhappy audience member from 2019 even said that she felt sorry for Ray's colleagues while claiming, "She acted like someone who did not want to be there and seemed in a foul mood. For heaven's sake, if it's too much, why continue with your show?" But Ray probably isn't too worried about those negative reviews. Her talk show wrapped up in 2023, and she's gone on to focus on other TV projects, such as Rachael Ray's Rebuild on Hulu. As if a massive house fire weren't enough tragedy to deal with, Rachael Ray had another disaster arrive on her doorstep in September 2021 when Hurricane Ida struck New York City. While Ida wasn't quite a technical hurricane when it struck the city, the post-tropical cyclone still broke rainfall records in New York City, causing millions in damage and more than a dozen fatalities. It also damaged more than 3% of the city's buildings, including Ray's apartment. Ray revealed to People magazine that the storm completely wiped out the recently renovated apartment, including the speaker in the ceiling, the fireplace, and all of the seams in the wall. As she put it was like the apartment just literally melted. When a remediation team attempted to assess the issue, they broke a water pipe which flooded the apartment once again, along with the entire building down to the ground level. But by the 2021 holiday season, Ray was back in the apartment for Christmas and showing off her decor on her talk show.